All right, so we are here at the office. We're about to go in. I'm gonna turn my light on. We're gonna get ready. Here we go. So right when you walk in, you have a grand view here of the kit that he records on, the gear, and we're just gonna make our way down there. I hope I don't fall. Here we go. Here's the session. Here's the Beat Laboratory.
Yo.
What up?
Yeah, so this is my garage that I converted into a studio. And so this is where I do all my session work, and this is also where I stream from. And let me show you guys what I did to convert this into a studio. So right here, this is a wall that I had built in here to kind of make this room as soundproof as possible. So we've got double doors, and once you come in here, you've got the other side of my garage. So I was able to convert the garage door to go straight up, which allowed me to build a wall here. And yeah, we built this wall pretty much to the highest specs you can to just have it really soundproof so the neighbors can't hear it, hopefully. We got two solid doors here that are pressure locked. So yeah, it's pretty hard for sound to get out of here. Let me show you guys my kits here that I'm working with. So here we've got my Gretsch USA Custom Tony Williams Yellow. This is the first custom kit I ordered from Gretsch when I signed on with them as an artist back in 2016. And this is one of those kits that I'll just never get rid of. It's probably my favorite kit I've ever owned. It sounds incredible. It looks awesome. The yellow paint job is just wild, and it's kind of the epitome of a USA Custom. But yeah, I'll show you these drums. So it's a 13x9 rack tom, 16x16 floor tom, and 18x16 floor tom, and then a 22x14 kick. And I would say I use that kit for probably 75% of my sessions. It's not what I have set up right now, but that's usually my go-to guy. And moving on over here, this is a 24x16 Gretsch square badge kick drum. So I'll show you the badge here, Tim. So square badge is the badge that Gretsch was using in the 80s. They used it beyond that as well, but this is an 80s kit that I recently got, rosewood finish. And the toms for this kit are actually set up over here. So it's a 24-16, and then we've got a 13x9 rack tom, and the floor tom over here is a 16-16, mixing and matching right now. So over here we've got another vintage Gretsch kit. This one is either from 79 to 81 based on the badge. It's the Drop G badge. So this is a 13x9 concert tom, 14x10 concert tom, 18x16 floor tom, and the kick drum is a 24-14. And these drums are in the old school walnut finish. Something I love about these old Gretsch drums is they would do these gloss lacquers over like a beautiful stain. So you've got kind of the flashy, glossy paint job, but you can still see the grain of the drum, which I think is really beautiful. And then over here we've got, this is a Rogers kit. This is my roommate Sebastian's kit. He's an amazing drummer. And moving on to my snare drums. So obviously I've got a lot of snare drums. I'm just gonna show you guys my three favorites. So over here we've got, this is a Gretsch chrome over brass. So this is kind of like your typical workhorse snare drum. Can do everything, just kind of always gets the job done. This is kind of, for recording, this is kind of my equivalent to what I said about the yellow USA Customs. I use this for majority of my sessions because you can just do anything with it. So it's 6.5x14, chrome over brass. Yeah, it's in the Gretsch USA line. and it's got the lightning throw off, which I always think is a really cool looking throw. Looks like nothing else. Got the strainer over here. Now this is another snare drum that's pretty special to me. This is a Gretsch USA solid maple in the burnt orange gloss finish. So the reason I went with burnt orange gloss for this drum is the first Gretsch kit I ever played, which is the house kit at Glow in the Dark Studios in Atlanta. I was recording there with Being as an Ocean back in 2013, and they have an 80s Gretsch kit in burnt orange gloss, and it was the first Gretsch kit I ever played, and it was the first time that I was like, wow, Gretsch drums are what I want to play. And so this finish is just kind of what I associate with Gretsch. As soon as I think of Gretsch drums, I think of burnt orange, just because it was the first Gretsch kit I played. And so this snare drum is not just a normal maple snare drum. It's called solid maple, so it's a 1-ply steam bent shell. So yeah, it's got pretty crazy qualities to the sound. It's very ringy, and you can do anything with it. You can tune it really high, you can tune it really low. Just endless possibilities. It's got a lot of character. Really like this drum. And then another one of my favorites is this guy here. This is the Gretsch USA solid aluminum 5x14. So this is a cast shell, which means it's seamless. Most metal shell snare drums are a rolled sheet of metal and then welded. This is a seamless shell. So it's pretty heavy, even for how shallow it is. And yeah, this snare drum's just, I really like cranking it up high. I like using this if I'm playing hip hop or pop stuff. And I customized it a little bit. I had Gretsch put their tube lugs on it, which they don't typically do. Typically you'd see the lugs that were on those other two snare drums I just showed you. But I really love these tube lugs. Yeah, this is a really cool drum. Over here, I've got a pretty wide variety of different cymbals from Zildjian. It would take forever for me to show you everything I've got here, but I've got one special cymbal in this stack that I'd love to show you guys. So this is a 24-inch K Constantinople ride cymbal. This is a prototype. I had asked Zildjian for a long time if they're ever gonna make a 24-inch Constantinople. This is one of my favorite lines that they have, and they just didn't have a 24-inch ride. And yeah, I had asked about it for a really long time. And one day, Emily from Zildjian emailed me and said, hey, we made a small batch of 24-inch Constantinoples. We're just trying them out. I don't know if we're gonna end up making them. And you know, I was fortunate enough to get one of those. And I don't pull it out too often,
but when you do,
because it's such a rarity. But when I do, man, it's a really beautiful cymbal. And yeah, I love that thing. So this is where I do all my remote session work. So I've got a monitor over here, and whenever I'm recording for an artist, I just bring my keyboard and mouse over here and I just engineer from behind the kit. And let me break down what I'm using on the kit. So like I showed you guys earlier, this is a vintage Gretsch kick drum from those walnut drums, and these are those rosewood toms. And for the snare drum, right now I've got set up the Gretsch 6.5x14 phosphor bronze. Now this thing is amazing. This is just, I don't know of a better rock snare drum out there. It's just loud and powerful. This is the first snare drum that Gretsch ever sent me, actually, and I love it. So let me talk about what heads I'm using on these drums. So I've got clear emperors on the toms, and I've got a coated X14 on the snare, which for anyone who doesn't know, the X14, it's the same thing as an emperor, it's just 1 ply instead of 2. So it's just 1 thick ply instead of 2 thinner plies. And on the kick drum, I've got a clear Power Stroke 3, all Remo, of course. And for heads, my setup doesn't really vary too much. Sometimes I'll go with coated emperors, occasionally vintage emperors, but usually it's just the regular ones. And On the road, I'm not able to use a head like this on my snare because it's not durable enough. But in the studio, I really like to have a thinner head on the snare and just kind of let it breathe and let it ring out a little bit. So let's talk about cymbals. So this is my absolute favorite cymbal in the world, the Zildjian 21-inch A Sweet Ride. You can just do anything with this cymbal. It's a great ride if you want to, ping on it. It's got a great bell, but it also crashes very smoothly. And yeah, it's just really versatile and you can pretty much do anything with it. Right now, I've got two 19-inch A custom crashes set up. My cymbal setup varies pretty heavily depending on what kind of song I'm recording on. But this is what I use. This is what I have set up for Twitch streaming, which we'll get into that in another video. And over here, I've got the 15-inch Avidus hi-hats. So I used to use the 15-inch K-Lite hats for a long time, which are amazing, and I still love those. But once the Avidus line came out, these became my absolute favorite hi-hats. These are just incredible. Again, like the Sweet Ride, you can use these for any application. You can just do anything with them. So let's talk about pedals. Right now I've got the DW5000 XF double pedal. So this is a new pedal that DW came out with last year. It's your typical DW5000, but it's just got an extended footboard. So it's just got an extra inch on the footboard. And yeah, it's just a little more comfortable for me. I've been playing with the XF pedals for a couple years, usually the 9000s, but I wanted to give the 5000s a shot. And so far I'm really loving them. And so let's talk about sticks. So I'm using the Vic Firth 5B, classic, can't go wrong with this stick. Can do everything with it. I used to use the Vic Firth metal drumsticks, and those are great sticks as well, but they're really, really thick and very heavy. And I just needed something a little lighter and something that will allow me to play with a little more dynamic. And when I'm recording, I may be recording a softer song, or I'm not always playing heavy music. So having a smaller stick allows me to kind of play with a few different styles.